oh, dude, you can't do that curly Q there because that's really hard to build. We're going to take that out. Of course, Gary stomps and gets all red in the face and angry, and that makes me laugh. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the BizDev podcast about developing your business. I'm David Baxter, your host, joined per usual by Gary, the man in black, Voigt. What's up, man?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you like that? Darn
Yeah,
it,
a
I'll
little
never
Johnny
say it
Cash
again.
reference.
Johnny Cash is always a good reference. You, sir, are no Johnny Cash. That's all I'm saying.
No, but I am like the Johnny Cash remake of the Nine Inch Nails song.
When he was 92 and recorded that, that's
Yeah.
perfect. More importantly, we are joined by Bruce Wittman, who is the founder of Eagle Video Productions. How's it going, sir?
Doing well. Hope you guys are doing well.
I cannot complain. I'm with Gary. But other than that, it's a good
Dude, I'm
day.
excited. Video production is something that I've always been interested in. So.
Oh, no.
Me
That means
too.
you're going to talk about boring stuff. Gary is not allowed to talk. That's why you mute yourself. Come on now.
Yeah, David doesn't like the creative side of anything.
It's true. I am not a creative person whatsoever. So tell me about Eagle Video Productions. Let me know what that is. You've been doing this for a long time, so I want to know what you do, and then I'll go from there.
All right. Let me tell you first how I got that name,
Okay.
Video Productions. I used to work at WRL TV many years ago. I was there for 10 years, a news photographer, hung out in a helicopter. And one of my jobs one time was to go to Russia, the Soviet Union, with 100 people from the North Carolina Friendship Force, including Governor Hunt's wife. The day we got there was Brezhnev's funeral. So because of that, everything was in chaos. They took my gear away and held it for 4 days. So we spent a long time trying to get it back, and finally got it back when we went to Leningrad, and came back with a much better appreciation for our country and the freedoms that we have here that are not really seen there in the Soviet Union at the time I was there. So when I had a chance to name my own country, my own company, I named it after our national symbol, which is the eagle. So there's where you got Eagle Video Productions.
Very nice. So what do you guys do? Give me the 30,000 foot view for those who don't know you.
We do high-end video production. We do training videos, marketing videos, all different kinds of high-end stuff for Fortune 500 companies. We do a lot of documentaries, that type of stuff. And if you ever looked at our demo, we have a 57-second demo of stuff we've done over the last 30 years. And we have to show a little of everything, because someone will call up and say, I wanted to do a video on how to catch frogs. And I'll say, I haven't done a particular video on how to catch a frog, but I've done a lot of video on other things. I think I can help you. So by putting a lot of different clips in the demo, it shows the whole gamut of stuff we can do. But even then, you can't always catch every gamut that everybody wants. And everyone always wants to hire someone who's done it before. So it makes it very challenging for especially someone new in video production. If you haven't done it before, how can you get the job? That type of thing.
I understand that. I get that all the time. How can you build this if you've never built it before? And I'm like, you build up the ability to create anything. That's the point, right? If you get good at your job, the variety, I think, is a strength rather than a weakness. I find that companies that focus on one thing, a vertical per se, are often somewhat rigid. And if you come at it from a lot of different angles, you start to provide solutions that other people won't, because they're not going to think of it. And so that's one of the things we pride ourselves on. I imagine it's very similar for you.
In the creative industry for design, it goes both ways. Sometimes if you're a designer and you're only, let's say, posting pictures or have a portfolio of certain types of design that you've done recently, people are going to think that's the only thing you can do. Or there's also people that will maybe not reference your portfolio, but just say, oh, you're a designer. Can you build me this? And you're like, that's not really what I do, but you're a designer. Don't you do everything? So I think sometimes there's an expectation of expertise in fields that you don't know. And then there's a lack of appreciation for fields that you do know within the same genre.
That happens. And it's really nice when you have a client comes in and asks you for something that you don't know, but they're willing to hire you because they know that you've done other things. So I'm all about that.
So you've been doing this for 40 years. And you already led.
Mustache?
It's a magnificent.
Hey, you have more hair than me, so you already look younger than I do. So it's all good. I am assuming, especially since the way you introduced yourself, you have some amazing stories of 40 years of video production. Can you give me a little sample of some of the craziness that you've been through over the last 40 years?
Well, I
If
spent my
anything
very
tops the Russia story.
Fair, fair. You might have already done
no,
it.
I don't know if I can top that. So yeah, I did my internship, basically my apprenticeship at Channel 5, WRMTV. Was there for 10 years, did the whole gamut of working on the crew and all that. And so it gave me a couple things to take away. One is always meet your deadline. And that's one of the things I'm very proud of with our company. We always make our client deadlines and we always make our budget. So with that news background, I'll always make a client budget and especially their deadline. And that happened just this Friday. Did a project. It was a recruitment video. I didn't get the script till this Friday.
Nice.
I worked on it Saturday and Sunday and Monday, and it aired on Tuesday. So the client, not only was the client happy, his boss was happy. So you can't beat that.
That's right. So what
So
have
you were asking about what is some stuff I've done the last 40 years. I made a little list here.
Okay.
There's some things that I know a lot about because I've done a lot of it. One is escalators. I know a whole lot about escalators because I've done so much work for Shinway Escalators. I went to New York several times, did training video, 120-minute DVD on how to maintain and repair not only escalators, but subway escalators.
Now,
So
how do you
wow.
make a subject matter like that entertaining?
in this case, it was very technical in a way. It's a
Yeah.
very technical situation. What we did back then, we did a DVD and there was like 12 different menus, and each menu might have 20 or 30 different little click-ons that just
Yeah.
talk about everything specific. So you could drill through it. It's almost like an index, and you could go here and click on in 2 or 3 minute, 5-minute video, show you exactly how to repair or maintain an escalator. It's very important because these escalators are multi-million-dollar beast and they're all customized. Every one of these subway escalators is customized. So we'd have to go in there inside the escalator and shoot it, and videotape it. So that was something. Also, I know a lot about pickles. I don't know if you got to see the Mount Olive pickle video I did, that we did a Mount Olive pickle tour video, 13 minutes, won all sorts of awards and stuff. And so I know a lot about pickles, how they make pickles. I've done a lot of work with the National Guard. I did several recruitment videos for the North Carolina National Guard, and then went on to do some for the Georgia National Guard. More recently, I've done a documentary on the Hurricane Helene and how things were doing over there, type of thing.
Oh,
So
okay.
I really enjoy what I do. I love telling the story. I love making an effective video. That's the thing that drives me nuts, guys. I'll watch a commercial, okay? And we'll see a commercial. We're entertained by this commercial. But at the end of the day, we don't remember what the heck they were selling, right?
sure.
They spend millions of dollars for the footballs, the Super Bowl, right? And
Oh,
then
yeah.
you've forgotten what they were selling. It might have been clever, but you don't remember. So it's got to be effective. And that's one thing also that we're proud of with what we do at Eagle Video is that it's got to be effective, or why spend the money? So we're really hard to make sure that we hit the target audience. The message, and then also what's the call to action. Those 3 things are really important in my view of how to make an effective video.
So when people come to you, I'm a pickle company and I need a video, and I'm telling you what I want. I'm making an ad. Let's say it's a Super Bowl ad. It's going to be Big Pickle Day. And I come to you with a horrible idea that because you've been doing this forever, that this will not be effective. You're going to waste your $8 bazillion it costs to get on the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel a responsibility to tell them that, or do you just roll with it?
I tell, I'm not shy at all. I've got to tell them, look, I want to do what's best for the client. What's the best for the client? Spending the money wisely. How do you spend it wisely? It's got to be effective. Yeah, a lot of times. Here's a prime example. There's a company, really important company in Virginia. They came to me and said, we want to do a live presentation for our customer. And it's a huge building, and they want to go live and show different things and have people talking. And I just picture there's a camera on some sort of wheelie thing, and they're wheeling into each room, and someone goes to talk and the audio sucks. And not only that, they can't talk. I finally convinced them. I said, look, let me make you a really good 8-minute video that we can control. So we're there and we shot for 2 or 3 days, and we put pictures to the words and made it very effective. And they won $1 million awards from that. So
Nice.
And they appreciated, I think, that we made, rather than go live where the signal could drop out There's so many things that go wrong with a live video for an important customer, because they were figuring the customer couldn't come to this building. Let's do something live. That's not always helpful, especially when you're trusting technology.
So when do you cross the line from video production to almost advertising? When you're saying, hey, you came to me with this ad that you wanted me to film, but it sucks. This is what you should do. Like, you're almost crossing that line a little bit.
I don't do per se commercials.
Okay.
I'm not a 30-second guy. I'm more of a documentary guy. I'm more like a marketing video, a training video, or recruitment video, that type of thing. So if it's a commercial, I might or might not do it. I might say that's just not my bailiwick. I'd rather send them on to someone who might have more experience and not waste their money, that type of thing.
Especially in a creative field or a field where you're producing something that is coming to you from your client's head or whatever preconceived idea. They have an idea for what they want to begin with, and they have an idea of how they want it to, I guess, affect people towards the end or what the finished product might be. But there's a lot of middle space there that they don't know how to get from the beginning to the end. And I think when it comes to like video production, even in what we do when we're developing apps or building software, it's all that stuff in the middle that's going to change in between the beginning and the end, and guiding them through that process to then help them understand what they need versus what they might have imagined actually does give them what they want in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Another
the
thing that
process and refining the process is key there.
Another thing that I have to do is to counsel the client and to not do too much with a video. A lot of times I'll come with someone wants to do a training video, a recruitment video, and a marketing video all in one video. And I say, no, that's not what we want to do. We'd rather do 3 different videos that are much shorter, because everyone has shorter attention spans now anyway. But to make it with the target audience, if it's training, let's do a training video. If it's a marketing audience, let's do a marketing video. Let's not do all 3 at the same time. We do that all the time. We have to explain that to them. And they understand after a while.
Yeah.
To make it effective, you got to hit your right audience.
Now I have a different question. Unless David, you're still on the.
I'm still on
another
it.
question for me?
I do. I was going to wax poetic for a second. So it reminds me of one of my favorite things. One of the early things that we do with our clients is we do what's called an exploratory, which is where we dig down and plan what you're talking about. Obviously, we don't have scripts and stuff like that, but it's a similar concept. We're going to plan out what we're going to do. And I always know things are going well when I can, and I'll tell them this, I'm about to tell you your future. Because if you go down this path, I've done this many times, this is what's going to happen. And you're not going to like that. So we're going to say, go this way, because this will create a better outcome. And I know and you can only do that if you've been doing this a long time. That's just something that experience is the only teacher there. I've done it your way, and I know what happens. We fumbled that ball in the past. I'm not doing it again. And here's why. And that's always when I know it's almost like a switch flips, because immediately we become the person that they want, because we're now trying to help them. We're not just doing what they're asking. We're pushing beyond that and getting them a better product, better value. So I totally understand that. It rings very true to me.
A lot of times new clients will say, let's talk budget. And I will tell you, we'll never be the lowest price, because you're paying for my experience and all the things that I've learned over the years. And I want to share that with you, but there's a cost involved that you won't get with someone who's cheaper than me, who has less experience than me, that type of thing.
You're speaking our language.
Absolutely. Yes, right. So preach it. You were going to say something, Gary?
Yeah, I was curious with your experience and your background and seeing how quickly technology has changed in just video itself. Everything from, like you were saying, tape to then digital, like DVD, and then now everything is just formatted and streaming. Yeah. And now even with the introduction of AI, creating videos and helping edit videos and color correcting and all that stuff, how much of the shift, or I guess the change in the technology from what you've seen, is it becoming faster? Is it becoming better, or is it becoming just too much to even really help with what you do on a professional level?
First off, I've seen a lot of technology change. Yeah, I was there for film. I was there for tape. I was there for editing on a laptop now. And I enjoy it. I really enjoy. I'm a technology guy. At the end of the day, people don't hire you for your technology. They hire you for your experience. And prime example, you got a writer. I want this writer to write me a novel. Guess I don't care if he writes it on Word or whatever. I don't care what the software is. Just give me a good story. And it's the same with video production. It really doesn't matter in the long run. As long as it looks good, it sounds good, it's effective. It shouldn't matter what technology you're using.
Big Pixel builds world-class custom software and amazing apps. Our team of pros puts passion into every one of our projects. Our design-infused development leans heavily on delivering a great experience for our clients and their clients. From startups to enterprises, we can help craft your ideas into real-world products that help your business do better business.
You mentioned something that's so interesting. You ask for your clients' budgets. I find my clients, this is a mentoring opportunity because I'm very bad at this. Our clients don't want to tell us their budget because they're afraid if they tell us the budget, let's just make up fake numbers. If they have $100,000 to build this software, they are hoping I'm going to cost $50,000, but they are afraid if they tell me their budget's 100 that I'm going to pad it up to cost $100,000. It's a classic problem. And so I have been trained by them to be very leery about asking budgets because they're super, but it sounds like you're really upfront about this. Hey, we're going to match your budget. So I need to know your budget.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you make them come?
Here's the example of the $100,000 for your product.
Sure.
Do they want a $100,000 product or they want a $50,000 product? So why have a budget if you don't spend it? Someone recently, a guy wanted an animation video for the Army, and he came up front, $20,000 budget. I said, okay, we can do it. And it helps us understand the budget because then we know what the scope is. I don't have to go fly to Las Vegas and shoot this in order to do the video because I only got 20,000 to do it. So it's really helpful to understand a budget. And I think people, if they came up with that, it'd be helpful. Things would go much faster and easier.
I love the idea that if you tell me your budget, I'm going to match your budget. If you have a small budget, we were just doing this yesterday. This is so funny. It's so timely because yesterday we were planning a client. We're doing the UX and all the nerdy stuff that me and Gary do before the other nerds get involved. And I know based on our conversations, roughly what his budget is. It wasn't explicit, but he hinted at it. And Gary went off of the rails and made this beautiful flow and I was like, dude, we can't build that with the known budget. Like it was going to be cool. But he was like, are we selling ourselves short? And I'm like, maybe, but we know what his budget is. This is one of the few times we actually do.
That's helpful.
And so we had to dumb it down. Is not the right word. We had to go another route that was way less UI intensive.
We had to find a more budget effective approach.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if we had, let's say, I don't know what the budget was, $40,000 is maybe his budget. I can't remember, but if it was 40,000, if we'd turn that into 100,000, yes. Would it have been a better product? Almost certainly, because we can do what we can do, right? We have a lot of skill in that UX design flow, all of that stuff, but often we are constrained. Oh, dude, you can't do that curly Q there because that's really hard to build. We're going to take that out. Of course, Gary stomps and gets all red in the face and angry, and that makes me laugh. But if we could, we'd put the curly Q in there, right? Because it is better. Yeah. I would rather do what Gary
boiling
often
it down
does.
To a curly Q in my childish rant. That is not how it goes.
Curly
Q, a little more in depth than a curly Q and a stomping my feet. But basically, that's the point. Yeah.
For video production, do they want a curly Q? Was it 2D or 3D? Let me know because the budget changes if it's 3D.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
That's fair.
We always try to understand the budget, so we have to create the scope of work. Was it a one-day shoot? Is it a 10-day shoot? It makes a big difference in the product and the message and the quality of work. So it's really helpful to understand what the real budget is, not the pretend budget. And again, I'm trying to understand, if you have $100,000, why wouldn't you want to spend it all? Why do you want to save $50,000? What would you do with the other $50,000? Have a party or what? I mean,
now let me challenge that for just a second. So let's say their budget's $100,000, and you know that they're doing a simple spot training video, and you know that you can do an amazing job for 50,000. Do you say we don't need that? Do you ever come back? Because at some point you are adding curlicues, using our little term there, that aren't needed, that aren't really adding value. You're just trying to get there.
I don't do that. I don't do that. No, if they have $100,000 budget and I look at everything they want, I say, look, this is only a $50,000 budget here you have. Now, maybe if you have a bigger scope of work, if you have more that we can add to it, if you have $100,000 budget, let's see what we can do. But what you're giving me now is a $50,000 budget. And I'm very truthful about that because I like repeat business. I like customers happy. That's one reason we've been here for so long.
Well, we want to ask you, through your experience in all your years, what now would you say would be your top 3 pieces of advice for someone just starting their own business?
The first one is don't.
Great. Okay, so we'll see you next week.
if they don't listen to that, listen to this. There's always room for the best. Think about that. How many exercise videos do you see and you're still there new ones all the time?
True. True.
How many gaming things are out there and there's still new game stuff that came out all the time? There's always room for the best. So that should not disappoint you, whatever. The other thing is it's hard. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. So think about that. It's going to be very difficult. It's a lot of work, but it can be very rewarding. It is for me, but you have to think about, do you want to do this? And it really helps to do the research, to do some market survey if you can, to find out if there's a need for what you are, whether it's a product or a service. But there's always room for the best.
I think that's very good. Very poignant. Very poignant.
One more thing I want to say about people that's important to me is to give back. We do a lot of pro bono work. Every year we give back to a deserving North Carolina nonprofit. Do a $20,000, $30,000 worth of fundraising video for them. I think it's important. And I think if everyone does that, the business will grow. The Mount Olive Pickle video started with me doing a free video for the Mount Olive Pickle people. They needed some United Way stuff. I did something for free, not expecting anything. And then I got this big project that came from that. So I think it's important for young people, especially, to give back. And everybody should give back. And I actually have a pro bono page that you can see all the pro bono videos I've done over the last 15 years to kind of get inspired, because it's important.
I love that.
That's nice. I know David doesn't mention it. Big Pixel also has a little bit of a philanthropic arm to it every year, but
I think it's good.
He doesn't like to mention it, so I'm just going to say, yeah.
That sounds weird. Okay, we actually do. We give away a significant amount, but we do it anonymously whenever possible, because I don't believe if you're giving money so that you can put your name on something, then I think you've got the wrong idea. So that's why we don't talk about it. It's not because we're ashamed of it. We certainly aren't. We're very proud of the organizations we support, but I just don't need accolades for doing the right thing. And so we do it quietly. That's the only reason. All righty.
I mentioned it just because I thought you're good at it. That's all.
Oh, thank you. That's a rare compliment. We should mark that down. Someone remember.
We'll cut that out. We'll cut that out in post.
That'll get edited. Thank you so much, Bruce, for joining us. This has been a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.
That wraps up this episode of the BizDev Podcast. Thanks for listening. Let us know your thoughts. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at hello@thebigpixel.net or connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, and LinkedIn. BizDev is a production of Big Pixel, a US-based provider of UX, design, strategy, and custom software. This podcast is edited by Matt McCracken, yes, that is his name, and me, Christy Pronto, marketing guru for Big Pixel.